It's because we don't like him and he knows it.
Here we go. It is the Jeff Traylor Radio Show, and we are live from Roca and Martillo. It's presented by UT Health San Antonio, the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. UTSA getting ready for North Texas this weekend. We welcome Jeff Traylor to the program. And let's talk about first the big win last week against the Rice Owls. The most points in UTSA history in a game was 61. You guys had it rolling pretty early and often in that game last week.
Yeah, it was fun. Obviously, hitting the post pattern to AJ early in the game was huge for us. And then getting in the end zone, which has 2 consecutive weeks, on the opening drive, we scored. We had been getting the ball in the second half first. We were scoring on those drives, so we're pretty good early. We got to sustain like we did last week. And then they came down, hit a field goal, and then we went back down and scored again, and then, knocked the quarterback out. And that really hurt them.
Have you ever been in a game, I think I know the answer to this, where the defense scored 16 points in a row to start the second half or any part in the game?
Yeah, I even went further than that. I also told you, I don't know how many more years we get to do this together, but we'll never, ever have that comment again, ever.
Yeah.
That's one that you can just go ahead and write down right now. That's never going to happen again.
I asked Ty Leonard about that today in practice for the pregame show interview, and he said not since Little League. Apparently he did it in Little League.
Well, Ty probably has. I don't know that I have. I just don't know. I just don't know that. Our defense didn't play. Our offense didn't play for half the third quarter.
Right, yeah.
Because we just kept going back out there.
That made it a pretty easy decision to rest Owen the rest of the game, too, when they extended the lead by 16.
Yeah, that made it a simple decision. And it was good because I wanted Brandon to get some reps with the ones out there and get some, some of that. You just got to get out there and play. And yeah, that was a fun night. I enjoyed it, to say the least. Homecoming, Jordan and Sierra were in town. Mickey was there. So there are only a few games in any kind of coaching career where you're going to the fourth quarter and the game's over. And I would say you and I have done maybe a handful that way since we've been here. And that was fun. I'd be lying if it wasn't. It was fun.
How important was it to kind of get the offense's swagger back? Because I thought you played well offensively against A&M and Texas State in the losses. And in the Colorado State game and UIW game, you played okay, and then maybe a little bit of a setback in the second half against Temple. But to get that rhythm going to where you felt like you could score on every possession.
That was fun. That's kind of the way we finished last year, and we just hadn't got back to it yet. There have been glimmers of it being there. We're going to have to do it this week. North Texas offense is so good. Eric does a fantastic job with his offense every single year. But the biggest difference is just their defense, and how good they are. So whatever we did last week, we're going to have to go do it again.
Will Henderson shined brightly in this game, and not that Robert didn't, but Will got some of the big runs. Talk about getting him here and just the special player that he is.
Yeah, well, we gave Robert the ball the first carry of the second half, and he went for 16. And I literally said on the headsets, I said, I'll never forgive myself if Robert Henry gets hurt and we're ahead by 50 points. I said, get him out of the game. And I went to him. I'm like, Robert, are you good? Letting Will take this home. He's fixing to pass some stats. He's like, Coach, let's let Will go eat. He's like, this game's over. So Robert had a great attitude about that. And then Will got out there, and Amari got to carry the ball. Bryson got to carry the ball. And it was good to see John get back out there. John's been through. John was the #1 recruited back in the country when he went to LSU. And he's had 2 ACLs. He's a wonderful kid, young man. They don't have to be called kid. And I was just glad to see him. He kind of gave that little high-step stutter when he didn't need to, but it was kind of like letting everybody know, I'm just so happy to have the ball and be running. On 4th down, we had a play called where Brandon was supposed to keep the ball. And if he would have probably scored. And it's not like Brandon to not do what he's supposed to do. and everybody was grappling on the headsets, and I'm like, let me do a little investigating. So I went up to John. I said, John, did you keep the ball from Brandon and not let him pull it? And he's like, yeah, Coach, I wanted to run the ball. I'm like, well, thank you for being honest, John.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was glad all those bats got to run the ball.
Talk about Will, because he played in the minimum games last year, so he could keep that redshirt year. We know he's got speed, and now you're also playing him a little bit when you get him the ball and passes. He's got a lot of versatility with himself.
Yeah, he's unique. I got to see his last game at Gilmer when he won a state championship. And I knew I wanted him, but, man, when I saw him play in person, he looks so slight of frame.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, when you watch him play in person, he's very violent. His career is going to be special. He's got a high IQ. He's got a high motor, high character. Of course, he's from Gilmer. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Those Buckeyes are different.
They are different. Let's see, you got Bryson Donnell back out there, too. That was good.
Real bad injury, in the spring where he tore his hamstring from his bone. And he's just a wonderful human. And I hope you don't see those guys very much, because that means that Robert stays healthy and Will does.
Right.
But when we got a staple of backs.
And you say the word, I hear this comment from you a lot with just about every player on the team, wonderful humans. When you have a bunch of wonderful humans, you're able to celebrate the highs and survive the lows.
Like today, I got after them pretty good. I'm sure KK and AJ will testify. Like, I didn't think we were our best today. And you can just really get after these guys. They know how much I care for them, but they're good people. They come from people that expect high things of them. And I say it to them all the time. Like-minded people surround themselves with like-minded people. And we try to do things right around here. We really do. And, minus 2 really tough losses, this has been as enjoyable a season I've ever had because of the kids I get to coach. They're really fun. And I've said it after every press conference. They're about the right stuff. Tonight when you talk to KK and AJ, when you get through hearing them speak, you're going to go, man, those are some really nice kids. Mm-hmm. And we picked up KK and AJ this year. And they're just good young men. I know they hate to be called kids, but I've got 3 adult children, so
they're still your kids.
They're young men. They're my kids. That's right. They're my kids.
DJ Allen has a knack for the end zone, whether it's getting in the end zone after catching one or yards after catch. He did it the other day on the comeback play. Talk about him being back in that wide receiver core.
I thought that was really cool. DJ tore his ACL last year during the Rice game.
When he scored, right?
Which is his first touchdown of his career. And then that was probably his most exciting touchdown of his career.
Yeah.
I don't really know how many he's had. I know he's had a couple more since Rice. I was thrilled for him. I've known DJ for a long time, recruited him out of high school. They're all Texas kids. AJ's a Texas high school football player. KK was a Texas high school football player. And DJ was a Texas high school football player.
And you got Lopez and Meach on the offensive line, some reps in the game.
Yeah, Luke played well. Really happy for Luke, recovering from an injury for a long time ago, and Meach as well. Both those guys, we're going to need them, and we already have. And we'll continue to. And they're both playing well, so I was happy for those guys.
All right, we're going to talk to the 2 players that Jeff just referenced a little while ago with A.J. Wilson and K.K. Meyer coming up in the next 2 segments. UTSA fans, get ready for the Yancera punt for a pickup at every home game. One lucky fan will have the chance to win.
having me out here. I'm excited.
All right. You played against UTSA last year when you played for Houston Christian. So what made you say, I want to join this team and come over here and play with the Roadrunners?
It's just the way they played football last year.
Scoot that mic up just a little bit there. Yeah.
It's just the way how they played, how there was last year, and how the success they had during the season. That's what really made me want to decide to come here. And plus,
now,
a good coach here.
Yeah.
Coach Traylor, he's a very good coach.
Nice plug. Nice plug. Well played. Well played.
And a great coordinator in Justin Burke, and a good receivers coach, all that stuff, right?
Yes,
He does love him some Joe Price. He does love Joe Price.
What have you learned from him?
I learned a lot. I learned how the details of a route, how to be a true receiver, and how to run routes very good.
Okay, you were a quarterback in high school, so how'd you make the transfer from that to wide receiver?
The transfer from quarterback to receiver, I feel like it was a better opportunity for me to see the field. As a quarterback in college, at my old school, we brought a bunch of quarterbacks in. At the coach staff, we had new coach staff. We brought a new coach staff in. They brought quarterbacks in, so I decided just to switch to receiver.
And as a receiver, how do you relate to quarterbacks? Because you kind of sometimes, I would think, know what they're up against, so you can either come back to them or kind of get an idea of what they're going through since you played that position before.
Yeah, as a receiver, you basically do the same thing, but the quarterback does. But you just focus on doing your 111, on doing your job on the field. You know what you have on that play, and as a quarterback, you gotta look at the coverage. You gotta make see who's coming and know the coverage and know the play as well.
There's a couple of things. First, there's a lot of us, AJ, that were in the used to be quarterback club, and then they move us to another position. So I know that pain. I know I was a quarterback until I wasn't a quarterback. So I empathize with you. But let's be honest, the real decision maker in your family is your mother, Melissa. Is she watching you tonight, or do you think she's just working? What's she doing tonight?
I believe she is watching. I think I haven't told her that I'm on the radio show yet.
Oh no, you could be toast. You could be toast.
But it's archived. She can hear it.
But I'm gonna tell her after the show.
So when I was recruiting him, he really had a great time on his visit, but his mom couldn't come, and he was very upset about it. And he was like, Coach, she's just not going to let me commit until she gets to know you. We got to set up a FaceTime. We got to set up a Zoom. I can't. I want to come, but I can't until my mom puts the okay on this. Mm-hmm. So we got on that Zoom. I guess it was a Zoom, FaceTime. I misremembered one recruiting story the other day on AJ, so I got to make sure I get this one right. And obviously she believed in us enough to get him here, and we're grateful. I still think his ceiling is through the roof. He's tall, long, fast, smart, athletic, coachable, and you can see each week, you just see him coming on more and more and more each week. I really think his sky is really high.
Talk about those accolades coming from your coach. How does that? I know that makes you feel good, but how does that kind of motivate you to even get better than you currently are?
That motivates me for me to continue to grow as a player, and also as a person off the field. So that's really helpful.
And he's so smart. You can get after him. Like, you can coach him hard. He knows why you're coaching him. He does not want to disappoint. He's made of the right stuff, and a lot of it. That's why I point out his mom. A lot of it has to do with her. I mean, you just get to talk to her, and you know when AJ is at the house, stuff's going to be done right around the house.
Talk about your mom, because I know moms and family is important. And this is kind of a family decision when you're making a decision where you're going to play football and go to college.
Yes,
so talk about the influence that she's had and the impact on your life.
My mom, she's a wonderful mom. I'm not gonna say a good mom. She's a wonderful mom. I love her to death, and she's my biggest support in football. She's been with me since I started playing football. Also I played a little basketball in high school, so. Yeah, she's been really good. She took care of six of us. She took all six of us, and she get up every morning. Just watch her get up every morning, go work during the week.
Tell her where she works.
She's a PE coach at like an elementary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's been around athletics for a while.
Oh yeah. She at one point in time in my life, she was my basketball coach.
Oh, how was that? What did you learn from her?
It was interesting. Like as a mom, you having your mom being a basketball coach, like it's just like it's interesting, very interesting.
Is there a basketball skill or an athletic skill that she taught you that you can take to what you're doing now?
I feel like I would say it's a skill that she has. Like my mom, she used to run track back in the day.
Okay.
I feel like that's why I'm so fast now on the field, and I can run for people.
Yeah, his high school coach was also very instrumental in this. Rodney Southern is a friend of mine, and he just he bothered me like crazy. Even when he was in high school, he's like, he thinks he's a quarterback, but I think you can talk him into being a wide receiver. And we would try. I'd get Coach Price to talk to him. He was sure he was a quarterback, and Rodney would just say, "Stay on him. He loves you guys, but he just wants to go try to be a quarterback." So when I got word he was getting in the portal, I knew we were going to go full throttle to get this young man, and man, we're glad we got him on our team.
What are you doing in the classroom, and what are you studying? What do you want to do down the road?
My major is multidisciplinary studies. What I want to do with that is I want to be a basketball coach or a coach in high school in general.
All right. So you're playing football right now. Do you want to coach basketball instead of football, or do you like both?
I want to coach both because I played when I was growing up.
Yeah, and you were influenced, I'm sure, by a lot of coaches and kind of passed that along to the next generation of kids.
Sir, I was influenced by watching Coach Traylor. He influenced me just watching all the coaches that coached me through my basketball career and my football career.
Awesome.
I did both. I coached basketball for 10 years, my first 10 years of my career, and football as well. So it's still my favorite sport to coach because kids love to go to basketball practice. Sometimes I got to motivate them, like today.
Yeah.
We're going to be better tomorrow. We are going to have a better practice tomorrow, I can promise you.
Awesome. All right, AJ, thanks so much for being out here. Continued success. Glad to see you catching a lot of long passes.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's AJ Wilson, UTSA wide receiver. Every 2 seconds in the United States, someone needs blood, and every time you donate blood, you're saving up to 3 lives. Visit southtexasblood.org. UTSA cornerback. Welcome to the show. How you doing tonight?
Good, and you?
Very well. All right, you got a starting job coming in here after transferring. Talk about being part of this defense that seemingly continues to improve each and every week.
Man, it's been wonderful. It's been a grind getting everything together, and it's took a little bit of time, and I'm just so blessed and so honored to have the opportunity to play on this defense and to be with a great coaching staff.
What do you think has been the best thing since the A&M game to now? How has this defense improved the most, and especially the last couple of weeks, being able to hold opponents to low scores?
I think just the way that we just been flying to the ball, just really just hitting our opponents hard, and just making sure that we're really striking people and making sure that the opponents really feel us when we hit them.
And speaking of some big hits, you had some in the Rice game that led to turnovers and points off turnovers. And I know you're proud of a defense that scored 16 unanswered points in the third quarter.
Yes, sir, most definitely. When the defense can score, that's a great thing, and especially when we score 16 unanswered, that's big. So I'm excited for our defense for this weekend coming up.
All right, Jeff, let's talk about KK. What did you this was an important recruit for you guys to get him in here?
Yeah, we recruited him out of high school, and he went to Nevada. And then once he got in the portal, we wanted to get him here, and we thought we could develop him. He had a pretty tough injury, and a lot of schools stayed away from him because of his injury. I knew the kind of person that he was. I knew what kind of training staff we had, and I thought if we got him in here, we could get him well. And he's a really smart young man. He's high character. You can speak to him, and he can speak to you on a level where he's telling you the truth. And he told me he thought he'd be fine. And as I checked on him all the time to see how he was progressing, it was always moving in a positive direction. We had to get him back in shape, and he's starting to get there. Had to get him a little more physical, and that's obviously getting there. Yeah. I just like where his game's headed. A lot like AJ, you can't ever underestimate the power of a functioning brain cell and character. And both these young men have the ability to think, and they're good people.
KK, you go to Nevada, and you were recruited by Jeff a few years ago. And I'm sure you remember that recruiting visit and all those things and the opportunities around there. So what was it that you kind of look back on when you decided to come here, going back to a couple years ago when you were first recruited, and then also knowing and having confidence that the training staff could get you well?
Man, just just the home record, and just how just the style of defense that they play here. It's one of those things that really draw me back here. And with my parents moving to a suburb outside of Austin, I just felt like it was a perfect fit. And I was just so excited for them to give me the opportunity coming out of the portal again, and I was just blessed.
All right, so you played football and basketball up near Lubbock. Talk about those high school days.
Friendship, right?
Yes, sir. It was great high school days. There was a lot of guys that, I still in touch with till to this day. A lot of brothers, and, I was blessed, to be at a school, that cares so much about football and basketball, cares so much about their athletics, and their development of, just athletes. And, I was just so blessed for coaches too, coaches that really cared about their players, like Coach Traylor and this staff is. I'm just so thankful for those experiences.
We can see how good you are in football. Talk about your basketball days. How good were you in that? And did you ever think about pursuing that avenue instead of just football?
No, sir. I always want to play football, and my basketball skills, they definitely declined, while I've been full focused on football. So. Yes, sir.
I also believe that what helps us with these great corners is just the success Nick Graham has at developing humans and players. Nick has done a fantastic job. People want to talk about Tariq and Zay because they're NFL football players, but there's also, they forget about Corey Mayfield Jr., who's still playing and getting paid. They forget about Speedy, who came in here and got developed by Coach Graham. And there's other guys that were really good that, DeJuan Griffin, a kid from Louisiana that came in here, and we didn't know if he was going to graduate. Man, he hung in there and got it done. And you go on and on about the rooms that Nick Graham has helped develop. And if you want to be coached hard and you want to be great, our cornerback room he's really, really progressing. Because he takes Nick's tutelage and really listens to Nick.
Well, KK, talk about being coached by him and also wanting to be coached each and every day. Talk about how that room and how he's developed you.
Yes, sir. You know, he's a tough coach. You know, he demands a lot from his cornerbacks, and sometimes he even says it. You know, we won't like him all the time, like, because he'll tell you the truth. You know, he won't tell you nothing sugar-coated or anything like that, and he expects the excellence. You know, he coaches everybody like a pro. He tries to get everybody, as the best as they can, and it's a blessing, to get coached by him. He's easily the best coach I've ever had.
I would think that playing cornerback is a fun position because you get to make plays, but it's also one of those things you got to have a short memory because sometimes they're going to get theirs.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. You got to have a short-term memory at this position, and I just love going out there. It's a challenge. I think it's the hardest position on the field, but other people, it's subjective.
If it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be that much fun, right?
Most definitely, yes, sir.
What we ask them to do, they're by themselves most of the time. They don't get much safety help, and Nick doesn't let them shy away because they're cover corners. Doesn't mean they don't get to tackle. They got to bring an edge, and they dropped the ball off in the flat. Hit an unbelievable whack tackle in the game, and he got up, and I just liked the way you could just tell he kind of like, I'm starting to be that guy. And then when he hit the quarterback and the coach kind of came at him, which is why I got so upset, because I saw it was a clean shot. He hit with his shoulder pad right in the kid's chest. And more than that, he did not stand up on top of the kid. He knew he had hurt him. He went out on the field and celebrated with his teammates. I just thought it was all class, the entire thing, and which is why I got pretty defensive. And even the coach, after he saw the replay, he came and apologized to me and said that KK was clean, and he knew he was in the wrong, which is why I responded to take care of KK.
All right, the $1 million question. You told me this earlier in the year, but tell everybody else, where does KK come from?
So KK comes from, I was on a youth football team. It was my first year. There was like 3 or 4 or 5 Cadens. I guess Caden's a popular name on Lubbock, so we all had to like have a different nickname for each person. So my name came from my brother's nickname is JJ, so they just were like, be KK.
Have you ever heard the story about not the older Coach Turner, the younger Coach Turner? Coach Turner played at Rice, and there were 5 Lukes on the team. So, and he was a really good player, by the way. And they called him Bob because they just run out of nicknames. Everybody had L's and LL and L square. So when it got to Luke, he was a freshman. He's been Bob. So you still, in Rice, you talk about Luke Turner. He won a conference championship with those guys, and they still call him Bob.
Awesome. KK, all the best to you. Continued success. Have a great game this weekend against North Texas.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. That's KK Meyer. want to correct, I guess, right?
Well, not correct, but April and Sarah did point out that I mentioned the type of fuel that I am, and since I drive a GMC and Sarah
Right.
Tahoe, and I don't know if April's listening, but we're giving her a plug right now. I want to make sure she knew that I drive one of her cars with some good unleaded gas, and she knows I mentioned Martin, so Martin drives like a higher fuel, but he has bought a car from her as well.
I got two.
Thank you. And Andy's bought two. So everybody here that has an Ancira car, make sure we all give a plug to April, because I got scolded that I did not. Thank you. Make sure we all buy a GMC or whatever type her and Jason sell. Buy those cars with whatever she says.
There you go.
Thank you, Andy. See how that all just worked out, Miss
It worked
April?
out perfectly, right?
None of that was planned. I did not slide him a 20 saying make sure you ask that question.
We'll just hit up April for it later, right?
That's right. Yeah, we'll make her donate.
There you go. All right, let's talk about North Texas, and they have a really good football team, despite the fact that they got some turnovers in the USF game last week.
Yeah, well, you got to look at South Florida first of all. They've already beaten the University of Florida. They've already beaten Boise, and they lost to Miami.
Right.
So that's a really unique team. They're in another league by themselves.
Yeah, we got to worry about them down the road.
So that's Eric's only loss. I mean, so they always have scored points at North Texas. Eric's is good offensive mind. The people in San Antonio know what I'm talking about. He's the one that turned around UIW. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of respect for Eric, even when he did it. You know, he was a coordinator at P4, and to come down to FCS and be a head coach, it just showed me something, that he really was betting on himself. And now he's a head coach at North Texas, and I'm a big fan. Kerry and I are close to his wife and his family. He was a great Texas high school football player, multi-sport athlete. Dad was a great Texas high school coach. I'm a big fan of Emo, and I really love the job he's done there. I've said this over and over. The hiring of the defensive coordinator has separated them. Skylar Cassidy's done a wonderful job. They've come in there and flipped that defense immediately with the transfer portal. And Drew Zavoda has always done a great job. The special teams there. This is as good a team as we played all year. And we're on the road, and Denton's a very tough place to play.
And defensively, they brought in 6 guys from Sam Houston, where Coach Cassidy was at before, so they've got some continuity.
Yeah, and if you look on my sheet here with all this yellow, they're mainly Sam Houston kids. So he didn't just bring them. He brought some good ones. I like the defensive end from Wyoming. I like the defensive end from TCU, who played at Chapel Hill, which is not good. He's an East Texas kid. That bothers me. 2 safeties from Old Dominion, both good players. So they flipped it quickly. And they're going to give us all we can handle Saturday.
You mentioned, I think, Monday, they've always had the offense, and now they have the defense to go along with it.
Yeah, I mean, look at the points they've scored. 51, 33, 59, 45, 36, 63. No, sorry, that was South Florida.
36.
How many they get?
They got 36 against South Florida.
So still, I mean, they score a lot of points. And we're going to have our hands full.
Mestamaker, the quarterback. Talk about what he does and how he does it so effectively.
Drew's big. He played at Vandergrift. He's 6'4", about 215, 225. Takes shots. Doesn't like to run, but can run. Has a hose, very accurate. And Eric's done a really good job of coaching him. Got a very good running back right beside him. 2 of them, actually. One from Mount Vernon and one from Oklahoma. The receiver, Coleman, who also played at Vandergrift, can really go in one. I really like 22. I like the way 10 plays. Wyatt Young, he's super. And they're good. 4 is a good football player, the wide receiver. They're just a good football team. Their O-line is very solid. Got a kid from Kilgore at left tackle, plays very good. Just a good group, good team.
We played at North Texas when there's decent weather, when there's terrible weather, and now we're going to get super hot weather. It's going to be 88 degrees, I think, on Saturday. So we're getting pretty much everything they have to offer weather-wise up there.
That is crazy. I mean, when you think about it, it's going to be past
almost
the middle
90,
of October. And I hope the head coach doesn't dehydrate, much less the team.
Yeah, but it's a good environment too. That's a very prideful school. They've been around for a long time, and they had over 30,000 for the game against USF.
Yeah, we're celebrating our 15th year playing, and I would imagine they're over 100.
Yeah,
I don't know how old they are, but it's very impressive. Tons of tradition. I remember as a little kid, remembering me, Joe Green,
Yeah.
went to North Texas. So, and they're very good on. They lead. They're high on turnovers. I think they've caused 15 turnovers this year, which that's terrifying. I don't know if that number's exactly right, but I know it's very high.
We talk about rivalry games all the time, and this is one of those because the record is pretty even, and we've won there and they've won here. And I know that as the players and coaches, how much do you put into that? Because it's a big deal for the fans, but at game time, it's just another team in another jersey, isn't it?
Yeah, I checked my stats. They've got 14 turnovers, so I don't want to misspeak and give you bad information. Ask that question again, Andy.
About the rivalry and
Yeah.
how players relate when the fans relate to it so much.
Yeah, it's pretty heated, for say the least. And I'll never forget in 21, they ruined our perfect season. We were 11-0, and they did a great job and just kicked our tail in the cold and the wind and the rain and physically abused us. And then we played them 2 times,
In 22, yeah.
And that was pretty cool to play them in the championship and at home. And then we went there and played Erica's first year. They came here last year. So we've had some really good battles.
All right, we got one more segment to go, and we'll get to some the play of the game from last week and talk about some of the other things to get ready for the North Texas game this weekend. The excitement doesn't stop here at the Rocket Lock and Terra. You can enjoy free events.
KB have and their natural athletic ability. So we've just been using them more. It's more their skill set. And I think Jess and them have done a really good job of letting kids do what they do. Nana and Vic and Don are getting better, and I think you'll continue to see them progress. They're going to need to have big games this week. Obviously, Shad and KB like to do a lot of pass covering because these guys throw the ball so well.
Talk about Kendrick's development and how he's come from when you had him last year. I know you talked earlier in the year about him getting in better shape, better conditioning, different mindset, the whole 9 yards. What a great year he's having so far.
You know, there's certain people that want to go to schools and be a guy, and there's certain people that have been at those schools and don't want to be a guy anymore. They want to be the guy. And Shad and KB really communicated to us they wanted to come here and be, you know, the guy. And I would think both those kids have done what they really set out to do. They're both single-digit guys. They're both leaders on defense, and they're making plays. I mean, KB and Shadrach are just – they're really different out there. They're good football players.
Absolutely. All right, switch gears here just a little bit. They released the 2026 schedule for next year. I know we're violating some culture pillars by even looking at it, but what do you make of the fact that we know who we're going to play next year, and how much do you even care at this point?
Like, what does it matter, though? I mean, like, who the heck knows what that team's going to look like?
Exactly, yeah.
In this new world, who's going to be their coach? I mean, we got coaches turning, players turning. Does it even matter anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll let y'all know when we show up and play that week.
Yeah, I guess you really won't know until after all the coaches are rehired and all the rosters are set right before spring practice.
Well, even when the coaches are hired, they're going to take their rosters with them, and then the other rosters are going to go somewhere else. And, yeah, it's just a crazy time. I mean, crazy time. But, yeah, it's fun because, you know, at least Andrew gets to start planning our trips, where we're going to be and what hotels we're going to be in. I guess he can't do that yet. We don't know the weekends.
The weekends, yeah.
So, I don't know what we know. We know we're going to play them.
We got 8 teams we know we're playing, or 12 now with the non-conference.
We know our schedule
as well.
That's all we know.
And you mentioned the coaching carousel. We are used to seeing this in late November and a scramble in December, but now we're seeing it in September, some of the time even before the conference seasons begin. This is kind of a different situation that we've seen before.
Yeah, the James Franklin deal, I think just everybody just kind of went, what are we doing? I mean, that is a shocking one right there to me. You're talking about a guy that was picked to win the national championship, had the lead on Oregon, and 3 weeks later he's fired. And that one shook up the coaching world, to say the least.
And how do you even pay it? How do you, I guess, know that that's now a possibility everywhere? And alumni bases and recruiting bases are all looking to see what they can do to get better as quickly as they can.
Yeah, James and I signed both of our 10-year contracts about the same time. I said the other night, I was just teasing with the media after the game, and I said, no, we got to all learn to get along, people. We're going to be here together a long time. And I got a lot left on my contract. And then when James got fired, I said, I'm not saying that anymore. I'm just going to be glad I got a job today.
Absolutely. All right, special teams. You talked about that from the get-go, and the Texas A&M game, you didn't particularly have a good grade, but they've continued to improve week in and week out.
Yeah, we just keep getting better. Now, we did start off so low, we had nowhere to go but up. But we have – and I just think common sense should prevail there. You lost 11 starters on defense. Obviously, the ripple effect on your special teams is going to be pretty catastrophic, and it was, especially when you lose your kicker and your deep snapper. So, and your punt returner and your kick returner. That's a lot. And so we've gotten better, and we're continuing to get better. But as I keep mentioning, Drew does a really good job at North Texas. They're very fundamentally sound. It'll be a battle Saturday. You
mentioned your punt returner. It's been Elliott Burrow since the Colorado State game. Give us an update on his progress.
Yeah, he's made some plays. Obviously, he put the ball on the ground last week. He feels bad for that, but he's made plays. When he gets the ball in his hand, he has a real chance to score every time.
You talked about the running back room a little while ago, and obviously if the other guys have to play, it means something has happened to Robert or Will. But beyond Robert and Will and the guys that we talked about and others that are on your scout team right now, is that an area that you feel confident you've got a lot of depth in, not only for this year but for future years?
Yeah, that's our deepest room. There's no doubt. We feel really good about that room. And, also we're going to lose Robert to being a senior and John Emery to being a senior. But we hope we can bring the rest of those guys back. But You never know. I mean, I'm going to prepare. Tomorrow will be Thursday, and we're going to try to have a great practice. I just don't get into all that anymore. We'll figure it out as we go. We're going to recruit every position like we have nobody. And
because you may not.
If they come back, we'll reassociate that. So we got to just keep working at it and recruit our tails off and try to stay in the fight.
The one thing I always like about talking to coaches and players, they obviously wins are the goal, and getting and not losing is the goal. But you always talk about getting better, and if you get better, the wins take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's it. You can't control the other stuff. It's going to be 90 Saturday supposedly, but what if it rains? What if the wind blows? What good does it do? You got to prepare. Obviously, you want to have wet ball drills. You want to bring some towels in case it does rain. But you just take what you can control and do that, and what you can't control, you got to let it go.
Keys to the game against North Texas.
It starts with our defense. You're not going to stop these guys. You just can't get frustrated. You got to stay in the fight. And those guys have the ability to move the ball. They always have moved the ball on us. You just got to stay in the fight. Offensively, we've got to be able to run the football. It's just part of our DNA. We did not do a very good job of that at Temple. And then the last piece in our special teams, we got to stay in the fight with those guys too. I mean, they're a good unit, and we got to at least come out of that thing even on special teams.
All right, thanks so much. We'll look forward to Saturday.
Thanks, Andy. God bless. Birds up.
All right, a reminder that we do not have a show out here next week, as it's